Okay, guys, what we are going to do today is talk about your cold calling flow. Okay, and we have created this method that following this method, at the end of the day, we will achieve two things. Number one is we will improve our conversion rate with prospects. Second, we will learn to disengage quickly and identifying quicker if the motivation exists and what is the level of motivation. Identifying if motivation exists earlier in the conversation will allow us to utilize our time and energy towards finding more prospects who are willing to sell their property. So engaging earlier in the conversation will allow us to engage and look using that time to engage with other potential sellers and improving our chances to find those who are willing to sell their property. So what we are going to do today is we're going to talk about less on the script, because the script is something that can be adjusted and will be provided to you. But what is more important is to understand the structure of the conversation, to understand the flow, and to understand the things that needs to be achieved in that conversation. Okay, so before we start and we drill into the phases and exactly each phase means what, let's talk about first of all the basic rules and guidelines of engaging with sellers, okay, with potential sellers. Okay, so let's start. Number one, guys, never lose your temper. Okay, if you don't know it by now, you will meet very aggressive people who are not happy with you calling them, just, with no invitation. Some will curse you, some will treat you very in a rude manner. Do not lose your temper in any case. Be respectful and disengage. Okay, remember, you're not representing here only yourself, you're representing a whole industry. Okay, and by doing so, you simply disengage and you move on to the next prospect. Okay, start removing. Okay, and I know it's difficult. A lot of you, you're used to saying it over and over and over again. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Miss. Being very respectful, and it's coming from a good way. But this should be removed. Instead of using Miss, Mr., and Mrs., adopt and start getting used to using their personal name. It will create two things. One, it will not show or create, even subconsciously, even if we know we do not want to create it, by using Miss and Mr. and Ma'am a lot in the conversation, using it in the conversation creates a difference between you guys in the levels, right? It shows, in a sense, they are superior than you in that conversation, and this is something we do not want to create. Second, it makes you guys closer, right? I mean, using her name, obviously, it's being personal and it connects more between you guys. Okay, what we also want to create is and try to achieve in a conversation is getting yeses. Okay, and I'll clarify what do I mean. Okay, but by getting a yes, by asking questions that pretty much force or direct the prospect to tell us yes, it creates also subconsciously positiveness in that prospect, and also start to adapt and get his mind used to saying yes and being more positive towards your questions. Okay, so let me give you a couple of examples how we want to do it, right? So getting a yes, is that make sense to you, Joe? Right, is that sound okay with you? Yes, awesome. Shall we move to the next step? Beautiful. I'm going to explain you the next step we're going to do. We're going to follow here. Does that make sense? Beautiful. So I'm getting a yes from that individual. Getting yeses, it's always a good thing. And this is, seeds that we want to plant in the conversation between our phases to start adapting and getting the prospect mind to use being more positive towards us. Okay. Let's talk about similarity, guys. Okay. People like and feel more comfortable talking to people who are similar to them. Okay, so one, it creates them being more comfortable, and meaning them being more comfortable the chances that they will engage with you longer in the conversation is higher. And this is the exact point that we want to create. Now, similarity, there's different types of similarity, and let's touch three of them. Okay. So first of all, tonality. Okay. There's people who talks in a very high voice, like being very dominant and so forth, and talking high. We want to adjust. We want to adjust the tonality to them. Okay. Also, there is people who talk in a low tone, right? So also there, we want to adjust. The person who talks in a low tone and in front of him there is a person who's talking a very loud voice or so forth, he will feel less comfortable in that conversation, and the chances that he will try and disengage earlier in the conversation, it increase those chances. Okay. Let's talk about also the pace of the conversation, right? I mean, we're going to meet slow talkers, people who like to talk slower, or we're going to meet people who likes to talk faster and just jump into the call. You can understand already that talking to somebody who is a slow talker with a very fast approach might make him feel uncomfortable and even confuse him in a sense. Similar, the opposite, people who talks fast and they want to move, and you being slow in that conversation, they might lose interest very, very quickly. Okay. Things you need to pay attention as well and adapt yourself. Quicker you adapt yourself already, with time and with, mileage and calls that you're going to take, you will find that there's different type of avatars that will fit into those categories, and you will know to adjust yourself very well. Okay. Also talking about shared interest, right? Similarity. I mean, um, you know, they want to downsize, and the kids left. Oh, got it. How old are your kids? By the way, beautiful. I have kids as well, and I'm waiting for the day they grow up or whatever. You have pets. Beautiful. I have a dog as well. All of those shared interests that you can show similarity to them in a sense, they will feel more comfortable to you, and it will also get you guys closer in the conversation. Okay. Another point which I want to discuss with you, which is very important as well. You need to remember, whoever asks the question, he's the one who controls the conversation. Okay. And this is where you guys want to position yourself always in that conversation. You always want to be in control. Okay. And I'll give you an example, right? I mean, obviously, we are in the point that we're asking it questions. There will be times that the prospect will throw a question to us, right? And it can be like, what's your offer, right? Or, you know, in those sense, or, who you guys work for. He's going to throw a question at you, trying to take the control, in a sense, from the conversation, and going to put you in a, in a more of a defensive manner. So what we're going to do here is, first thing, we want to obviously answer that person, which is being neutralizing the question. And then what we want to do is regain control in the conversation. So just to give an example, how the hell did you get my number, right? He'll ask you. So, our marketing department provide us with numbers of potential owners using public records. How are you thinking of selling? Right? So what I answered the guy, I gave him a valid answer that should satisfy him. And I responded with a question as well. I regained the control, right? Who you guys work for? What's the name of your company? I work for a private investor group. We buy, between 4 to 6 properties a month. Any thoughts of selling over there? I answered the question and I regain the control. Keep that in mind as well. You always want to end your sentences with a question, keeping the control on your quote. Okay, guys, own the script. Okay, own the script and stick to the plan. Owning the script will allow you, okay, to make it more personal, putting your own style into it, and understanding also the structure of what needs to be achieved will definitely assist you in controlling the conversation. Remember, we are not here to create motivation. Okay, we are not here to convince any person selling their property. This is not our job. Our job is finding the ones who needs to sell their property, not finding the ones who wants to sell. We need to find the ones who needs to sell their property. We're not creating motivation. We're simply engaging with as many people as possible a day to finding those who are in the need to sell the property. We are not selling anything. We're providing a service, and we want to bring value to the prospect we work with. Okay? Guys, breathe. Okay? You need to stop between your questions. I meet a lot of people, a lot of callers, also my callers, when in the beginning of the road, they want, they shoot it out, right? They shoot it out. They do not wait, and they don't give a chance to the prospect to answer those questions, right? So, hi Joe, my name is Mike. I'm calling about a property I believe you own in 12345. We're calling to see if you're interested in getting a cash offer for your property. Are you thinking of selling? Wow, you jumped in on them. Hold on, breathe between those questions. Hi Joe. Hi, I'm calling about a property I believe you own in 12345. We buy properties in the area. Just want to see if you're interested in getting an all cash offer for your property. Let the guy answer. Don't jump in. Don't push everything out. Breathe between those questions. And it's relevant also, even along, during the way. Give a chance to that person in front of you to answer you. Okay? Stick to the 80-20, right? 80% of the conversation should be for the prospect to talk. 20% you guys, okay? If you finish a call and you recap and ask yourself, okay, who spoke more in this conversation? And for some reason, you guys did, or you're very close of doing it, you understand that you're not following the 80-20% rule. Let the other person talk. The more he talks, obviously, the more information he shares, and you can direct it to be relevant information that we need. But also, it means he'll open up to you and, feel more comfortable with you, and eventually, will assist you in getting the stuff you need to get out of him. All right. No story, no game. Okay. When I say story, is remember, we need a story. We need a motivation, right? There must be a reason for that person wanting to sell his property. If there is no reason for that individual to sell his property, there's very good chances we won't be able to do anything with them, and those are not the type of leads we want to engage with. Okay, so guys, take those points, and obviously it's a lot of points. you know the more points you will be able to take here and practice on them, it will improve the results of your conversation and the conversion of your conversations, making prospect into leads. Okay, at the end of the road, obviously you need to try and all of them, but start by practicing some of them and improve yourself as you go. Okay, this is the time we're going to start drilling into those phases, and you know understanding what needs to be achieved in each phase, and doing so, right, following those phases, we will ensure that either we get what we need out of the prospect, or we'll be able to disengage early in the conversation, making sure that time we want to spend is on relevant people and not people who are just going to be time wasters for us, right? So phase number one is what we call stay alive. Okay, stay alive, obviously, in the call, right? We want to stay alive in the call. If we are not able to stay alive in the call, meaning creating a situation that the other person in front of us wants to hear more of what we have to say, all of those phases which are following, they're irrelevant, because it doesn't really matter how good we will be in each phase, but there's nobody to speak with. So first of all is stay alive in the conversation. Make your pitch strong enough, solid enough, right? That will allow you to stay alive in the call and will make that other person want to hear more of what you have to say. So let's talk about a bit on it, right? So guys, you got 3 seconds. 3 seconds, right? First impression is that will dictate, right? And will determine if that person in front of you lost interest or wants to disengage from you. Okay. Be everything and anything but sounding like another sales person. Okay, you need to remember, people are getting 5, 6, 7, 8, even more calls a day from people who wants to sell them something. Those are people they never asked to be called. They don't know who they are, and they don't know what they want. And similar to our situation, before they understand what we want, right? So immediately, if they think or feel that we are another salesperson, this is where they're going to be either negative or just disengage. So we want to sound everything and anything but just another sales person. Okay, and this is where we're talking about practice and own your pitch. Your pitch needs to be solid enough, with confidence enough, needs to be different, right? If we are just going to say the same thing over and over again, like what everybody says, and guys, those people already got phone calls in regards to their property, right? And those like, Hi, can I talk to Joe? I know this call is out of the blue. I'm calling about it. They heard about it times and times and times again. This is like old school shit. You need to be different. You need to adapt your approach to be different. And I'm just going to give an example, right? Somebody picks up the phone, use their name. Hi, Joe. Who is this? Hi, I'm calling about a property I believe you own in 12345 Street. What about it? We're buying properties in the area. Just want to see if you're considering it, getting a cash offer on your property, right? So when you're different, when your pitch is different, this will allow them to, to want to hear more of what you have to say. Now, if you're just being the same thing over, hi, my name is Joe. I know this call is out of the blue. I apologize for your time. You already start by apologizing, and you already start by saying the same thing they heard before. You're just gonna lose interest. Okay, you're just gonna lose interest very, very quick. Your hangups are going to increase, right? And people would just become negative. So, guys, you got 3 seconds. Practice your pitch. Be different. Be solid. Go straight to the point. Remember, people are losing, especially today. Everything is quick. Everything is instant. People are losing patience very, very, very quick. You need to be solid. You need to be sharp, straight to the point. This perfecting this and practicing this will allow you to go to the next phases. Going to the next phases will increase the chances of your conversion into leads. Okay, so let me give you an example. And once we do that, then we're going to meet different type of responses, right? So when we did our pitch, right, and we did it well enough, so scenario number one is, right, the guy says, yeah, sure, I'm interested in selling, right? Or yeah, I mean, I'll consider an offer. Beautiful, right? You made it through. Okay, this is option number one. Now, this is when everything goes well and it's very easy. But what we know is that we have a lot of cases which are different than this. Actually, most of the cases are different than this, right? And we are going to meet a lot of people who's going to say, right, that's not me, or wrong number, or that's not my address, right? So the easiest thing that we can do is just disengage, right? Say, okay, I'm sorry, thank you for your time, and move on. But this is not what we want to do. We got them already on the line. We want to make sure to ask them, maybe those, yeah, even if it's not the right person, right? It doesn't mean he doesn't have a property he wants to sell. And this is what we want to confirm, right? And what we're going to ask them, say, oh, sorry. Well, I got you on the line. We're cash buyers and we're looking to buy a couple of more properties in the area. Do you perhaps have or know anyone who might be interested in getting a cash offer on their property? Right? So this isn't the case. Like I said, hey, Joe, wrong number. Or hi, my name is Joe. I'm looking to speak with Michael. This is wrong number. Oh, sorry. Well, I got you on the line. We're buying properties in the area, and just to see if you would consider getting a cash offer on your property, or any person who wants to sell, right? So even if we got the wrong person or the wrong address, we still want to try and understand if that person has a property he wants to sell, right? So this is where we're not giving up. We're asking them, and they will be prospects who are going to give you leads. Yeah, it's not a huge conversion rate, but still, you got them on the line. Make sure you utilize and make sure those people has nothing to sell. You're going to get leads from those type of people. Okay. The third scenario that you meet is like, yeah, I mean, you got the right person with the right address, and he'll tell you, yeah, I'm not selling, or not at this time, or I'm not interested. Those people as well, we do not want to just let them go. We want to understand perhaps they have another property in their possession that they were looking to sell. Because remember, when we speak to those people, we ask them about specific property. Now, some people immediately, they only think about that property you asked them, right? But you can also remind them or ask them again, I completely understand. Do you perhaps have another property that you might be interested in selling, a vacant lot, a mobile home, or any place that needs some repairs, or anybody wants to sell, right? So this is where you're telling them, think for a second, maybe you have anything else, right? And you will meet people that will say, yeah, you know what? I have this lot. It's good you tell me you buy lots. I have this lot I inherited long time ago. I'm doing nothing with it. Yeah, sure, I'll sell it. Make me an offer, right? Or give me an offer, whatever. Beautiful. So those people as well, you're going to create leads from these type of people. Remember, guys, you have them on the phone already. You want to utilize them as well, right? And the last ones will be people who are opted out, right? Which is like straight up, like, I'm not interested. Remove me from your list. Never bother me again, or give you any type of other blessings that that you meet. So those are going to be pretty much the four types of people we will meet, right? but it's all about the pitch. The pitch needs to be well enough, different enough, straightforward enough to create, to increase your chances going to the next levels. And by meeting those type of responses, you know what to say in every scenario, and do not give up easy on those. Don't just walk away. Wrong number. Okay, I'm sorry. No, wrong number. Well, I got you on the line. Are you interested? Maybe you have another property you're looking to sell, right? Or I'm not selling it, not at this time. Maybe you got another property. Okay. So those are the people we want to engage with. So this is the time that we, if we don't have anything to do with that individual, we disengage and we continue with the others. Now, once we find those who had the right pitch, and they told us, yeah, I might, what's your offer? I might be considering it selling. This is where we're going to go to the next step. Okay. The next step will be motivation. Okay. This phase is pretty much to determine if we are having a prospect in front of us who has a reason to sell, which is motivated to sell, right? And what is the level of motivation? And again, if there is no motivation, if there is no story, no game, right? We're not going to move to the next phases without understanding if there is a motivation involved in that prospect. A lot of times you'll meet a lot of scripts that keeps this level and this phase, pushing it to the end of the conversation, asking it at the end after we spoke and we spent time and energy on that individual and understood the condition of the property. Then they'll ask, what's the reason you're considering selling? And if at the end of the conversation, you'll understand there's no story and that guy's not really interested in selling. So pretty much you wasted all of that time and energy on that person. So this is where we push it to the beginning of the conversation and understanding first, should we invest time and energy on that individual, or we walk away and saving that time talking to other people who needs to sell the property. So let's see how it goes. So there is pretty much in the script one question that share and into the prospect's world, having a better understanding if he wants to sell or not. And that question is, right after we said, hi Joe, I'm calling about a property I believe you own, 1 2 3 4 5, just want to see if you want to get a cash offer on it. Yeah, sure, make me an offer. Beautiful. So Joe, tell me, beside me calling, what is the reason are you considering selling, if I may ask? Right? Or you can say it in many different ways, but Joe, what's the reason you're considering selling beside me calling? Or if I may ask, what why are you thinking of selling? Or any other type of question you want to do it that that is feeling comfortable with you, and it's with your own style, but you want to ask it. This is the time you ask it, and understanding what is the situation of that person. And when asking those questions, this question, we will meet different type of scenarios of people, and let's talk about it. Okay, so we're gonna have the ones which are like, straight up, a clear-cut motivation, right? Like, I just want out, right? Or, what's the reason you're thinking of selling, Joe? So yeah, I mean, I just want out, or, I'm getting divorced and I need to sell the place, or, we're downsizing, all the kids left. We want a new place. This is too big for us. So I'm moving out of town or out of state, or any other, I'm renting the place and I'm just tired of dealing with it, or I just want to get rid of it. There's so many stories and there's so many reasons, right? So, scenario number one is that there is a motivation. So this is a clear-cut motivation. Beautiful. We have a prospect. This is the time we're going to be moving to the next step. But we know we're going to be meeting a lot of people, and most of the people, right, we're going to meet is different, that we have a maybe, a scenario that we call a maybe, right? And when we have a maybe, and let's talk about what is a maybe, right? A maybe is people who says, yeah, I'll sell it for the right price, or if you give me 500,000, I'll sell it, or I was never thinking about selling, but you guys called me, what the heck, make me an offer, or just giving you the attitude, right? Those what we are calling are a maybes, right? And if we meet a maybe, we need to decide now, should we continue that conversation, right? Or this is the time when we walk away, and disengage, right? So we need to qualify that person. It was not a clear-cut motivation, but it was not also a clear no. This is a maybe. This is somebody say, yeah, I'll sell it, but we're not really understanding that the guy needs to sell his property. And this is where we're going to bring in a question that will qualify that person and give us a better understanding if there is a reason that person wants to sell, right? So we're just going to tell them, or make me an offer, or, you guys called me, make me an offer. So you say, you know, us buying it, us buying as is, it won't allow us paying full retail value, right? Are you looking to sell your property in a 2021 standards, or are you willing to be more flexible and working with investors such as ourselves, right? So this is pretty much what we told them, right? Said, yeah, I'll sell it for the right price. So, if you're going to give me retail of 500,000, said, or make me an offer. So we say, yeah, sure, we'll provide you with an offer. But first, Joe, let me tell you, I mean, as you pretty much understood, we're a cash buying group and we buy as is. Us buying as is, it will not allow us to pay full retail value on our property. Are you looking to sell your property for full retail on a 2021 standards, or are you willing to be more flexible and working with investors like us on a cash as is deal, right? So what we told him now is, I get you, buddy. I get you. I understand, you're maybe not motivated. Let's just level the play field. If you thinking or hoping to get full retail, I'm not going to be your guy. Are you looking for retail, or are you willing to be more flexible, right? So this is where we pretty much going to understand who we are dealing with. Now, the guy either says, you know what, yeah, I'll consider. I'm willing to hear an offer. Okay, we all know already it's maybe not the best motivated person in the world, but he's motivated enough to continue the conversation with him, right? Or we're going to have the answer says, yeah, no, I'm looking for retail. I'm just going to be, I'm looking for a top dollar for my house. Beautiful, right? And this is where we just, in a sense, we expose them, right? So when somebody tells you this, is, yeah, I mean, most probably, Joe, we're not going to be a fit for you. I would recommend going with a realtor. Have you considered going with a realtor, right? So here I'm qualifying him even again, giving him the last chance to back off, right, and come back to the table. Because sometimes they say, and sometimes tell you, yeah, I mean, no, I'm tired of realtors. I tried working with them in the past. I don't want inspection and praise and so forth. And this is where you can tell, okay, so I understand you want to work, you don't want to work with realtors, but also you're looking for retail value. Pretty much, if you ever consider, if you're reconsidering working with investors, we'll be happy providing with an offer, knowing it's not going to be even close to retail value. Okay, so this is where you qualify. And now, according to those answers, this is where you need to determine if you are moving on to phase 3. Okay, and this is, again, this is a crossroad. This is a very important crossroad in your conversation. Okay, because this is the time that you need to determine if you continue spending more time on that individual or you move on. And guys, there's a script and there's a structure, very clear structure to a call, but you are not robots, right? Only you will know by your common sense and obviously understanding the person in front of you, if this is a person who is motivated or just giving you the attitude, because sometimes he will tell you the right things again, but you will understand that this guy is not somebody, is not somebody you want to deal with, right? So there is a clear understanding of how finding the motivation, and if the motivation exists, and if not, we're going to, if we're unsure of it, we will qualify. Okay, and this is a very, very important step, okay, towards number one, not spending your energy, because when you talk to people, it's not only time, but it's also energy you put out, right? It's energy you put out on somebody. Keep that energy, save that time towards people who wants and needs to sell. Qualify, identify, and qualify. Okay, if we have somebody who's not interested in selling, who doesn't need to sell, looks like we're not going to be a fit for you. I thank you for your time, and you move on. If we have somebody who's interested and we think is interested, this is the time we're going to move to the next step. So there is a reason. Tell me, Joe, by the way, beside me calling, what's the reason you're considering selling? Yeah, I mean, I just want to read it. Okay, I understand. Makes sense. Joe, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about a property, and that will allow us to give you a much better educated offer on it. Does that make sense, Joe? Yes. Remember, we spoke about positiveness. We spoke about asking questions that will give a yes, right? So here you go. I got a yes. I made his mind already positive. Try and put it between the call, just plant a seed every time it's possible. using their name and asking questions that give them confirmations and makes them positive. Okay. Phase number three, what we call intelligence and collection of information. Okay. This is the time that we understood. First of all, we made a right pitch. The guy is interested in hearing what we have to say. We confirmed that individual has motivation. He knows, where cash buyers are as is, and, he's interested in selling. So this is the time when we're going to collect as much as possible information on the property, on the condition of the property, to allow the people that speak with that prospect afterwards, the acquisition guys, give them a better understanding of what they're facing with condition wise. Okay. So let's talk about it. Okay. First of all, let's talk about deal breakers. Okay. Questions that we're going to ask also in the beginning that, at the end of the day, just going to stop us from continuing asking them all those questions. So question number one is a realtor. Okay. I mean, is the property currently listed with a realtor? If the property is currently listed with a realtor, that's a deal breaker right there. Now, when I'm saying deal breaker is meaning you guys stop. There's no reason to continue with the script. There's no reason to continue, spending more time here. This is the time you stop and you tell, okay, I understand. Usually, we work only directly with the sellers. What we're going to do is, until when is the agreement with your realtor? He'll tell you, yeah, 2 months, 3 months, or whatever. You said, okay, we're going to put a note on our side to reach out to you in a couple of months just to confirm if the property is not being sold. If it hasn't been sold, we can talk and provide you with a cash offer directly to you. Okay, so this is the time. You don't need now to go through the whole thing, gather the information, put it in, and again, according to specifications of who you work for. But this is, this is the time you guys need to stop. Okay, this needs to stop. There's no reason to continue with the conversation. The second deal breaker is time frame. Okay, so even if the person is motivated, he tells you, yeah, I mean, he told you, yeah, I want to sell, I want to get rid of the place or whatever. There's a solid reason, there's a valid reason to it. So what you're going to ask him is, assuming we manage making a win-win deal here, right? What time frame are we looking at? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? Okay, two things. One, you see that I didn't left it like an open question. I didn't ask, okay, what time frame are you looking at, right? I did not let him say it, right? Because they're going to tell, yeah, I want to close ASAP tomorrow, in 7 days or 14 days. Obviously, it's always better for us, 99% of the time, just putting 30 days, right? Even sometimes 60 days or 90 days. It depends on, the preference of who you work for, right? But here, we do not leave it open. We put the time frame. If the guy says, yeah, I want to close, no 30 days, I want to close next week. Okay, that's good. That shows sense of urgency, but let him say it, right? Let him say it, and then we can, pay attention to it. And that's definitely a plus, right? So time frame. So 30, 60 days. The guy says, yeah, 30, 45 days, 60 days, that's fine. Beautiful. But if that person says, no, I mean, I'm not thinking of selling it now. I want to get rid of it, but it's only going to be next summer. It's going to be like in 6 months, 7 months, whatever, right? This is also the time you stop, right? There's no need to continue with the script. There's no need to spend more time on that individual. This is the time you said, okay, I completely understand. You want to be selling in 6 months' time. What I'm going to do here, Joe, is I'm going to put a note on our side to give you a call back in a couple of months. And when we get more close to the date and it's more relevant, we can, talk more about the condition of the property and provide you with an offer which is going to be more relevant. Is that okay with you? Yeah, sure. Beautiful. You push it in, and the follow-up will come, in the future. There's no need now to take all of it in, save that time, save that energy, and move on, right? And what you can also understand, not, sometimes they said, yeah, I mean, if the person says the property is vacant, right, and he wants to sell like in 60 days or 90 days, or in 6 months, right, you can ask him, by the way, just out of curiosity, Joe, the property is currently vacant. What's the reason you want to sell it like in 6 months, right? So sometimes he will give you reasonings that might, that we might address and solve it. So he said, yeah, I mean, I need it for storage and stuff like that, right? So again, ask those questions at the time frame, but knowing, if you understand that the time frame is longer than 90 days, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, this is the time you stop and you move on. You put it as follow-up, you put it in. Next step, they will touch base with him in a couple of months and talk to him when it's more relevant to him. Okay, so this is like the two deal breakers that if we pass those, and it's not listed with a realtor, And yeah, sure, 30, 60, 90 days, it's cool. That's not a problem. This is where we go into now to the to the condition of those properties. Okay. One thing which is important for us beside understanding like the physical condition of the property, we want also to understand how the seller sees his property in his own eyes, right? Like it's always, it always put us in a better position just understanding how he sees his place. Now, most of people, right? They see the property like in a great shape. Yeah, it's in a good shape, awesome shape. There's no issues, no whatever. It's more, it's very like sentimental to them, and nobody, not a lot of people will say their property is bad. But us knowing the ones who are thinking that their property is in a bad shape, that's always a plus, and always puts us at the end of the day when you push it forward to the people who's putting the proposal, understanding that that individual knows, he acknowledge the property is in a bad shape. So the way we do it is like, how would you describe the general condition of the property? Walk me through a bit. Let the guy talk. Okay. Would you say it's fair, or would you say it's in, it's in a good shape? Is it in a fair shape? And this is the time you want to let them talk a bit instead of you should know that's, the places are dumb, the places are tear down. I mean, it needs a lot of work, stuff like that. Making them say it, right, and understanding that they see it also in that way always puts us in a better position. Let them say it, and let us first understand how they see their property, right? So I said, yeah, it's in a great shape, it's a corner lot, it's, it's in an awesome position, it's the nicest house in the neighborhood. Okay, beautiful, that's good to know, awesome. And this is where you drill it down into details of the properties. Now, one thing which you need to understand is that at the end of the day, we are not looking for opinions. Okay, we're not asking, tell me, Joe, how's the roof? So yeah, I'll tell you, yeah, it's a great roof, there's never leaking, it's in a great condition, there was no issues on the roof. Okay, beautiful, I get it. And Joe, how old is the roof? Yeah, it's around 20 years old. Right, okay. So who really cares? Like, there is no issues on the roof, the roof is old and needs to, there's need a new roof, right? So the way we ask it at the end of the day is, yeah, we let them talk and that's all awesome, but at the end of the day we need facts. And by needing facts, this is how we do it, right? Joe, how old is the roof? Is it 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? Gotcha, not a problem. And do you have a central heating and cooling system in the property? How old is it? Is it 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? The kitchen, Joe, the countertops, the cabinets, have it been remodeled in the last 5 years? Is it original? Not a problem, not a problem. All good, right? So we asking for facts, we're asking for, times, specific times, right? And all of it should be done with good vibes. Okay, it's all good. You should let that person, the prospect you're talking with, feel comfortable with you, in the sense, because a lot of people sometimes they like, not a lot of people, sometimes people don't like to admit the property is a dump, right? So give him that feeling. Said, Joe, first of all, let me tell you, I mean, we buy as is, and you know we pretty much seen it all. So there is no issues and there is no problems that, things need to be repaired at the property. We fully understand. And this is what we do. So it's all good, right? Let them feel that sense that, you guys buy as is, it's all good. Even the place needs complete full rehab. This is what we do every day, all day, and we pretty much seen it all. The only reason I'm asking you those questions is so it will allow us to give you much more of an educated offer. Is that okay? Does that make sense to you, Joe? Beautiful. Okay. Now, once we got all of those information in, we got what we need, right? We gather all the information. Now, again, it depends who you work for. Some people will ask, like, is there a mortgage to the place? Is it free and clear? And if it's tenant, if it's tenant occupied, what's the rental income? Those are specific questions that will provide it to you with the script. But for us, what we are talking now is the structure, the bigger picture, right? The flow that you guys need to understand what needs to be achieved in every step. On the how, on the small stuff, on the questions, this is where you're going to go always to the script and ask those questions. So we got the condition, right? We got the facts, we got the answers, we got everything we need, right? And this is the time we're going to go to phase number 4, which is get that money number. Okay, now again, that's not a must. Obviously it's going to be people who are not, at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to get their number, but it's always better and puts the acquisition guys in a better position, knowing and understanding what is the price expectations of the prospects, right? It will, getting an understanding of the price expectation of the prospect will might just immediately they will see, okay, this is what the guy wants for this area, and there's a deal here. They'll know immediately, and they will put more attention to it. So it's always better knowing the condition, the price expectations of that individual. Now, how we do it, there's many ways of doing it, but this is also, I'm just giving you a couple of examples, and this is where you need to use also, your discretion and your, knowing by now you spoke a bit with that individual, and you should know pretty much what's the vibe with the guy. So let's say this, if you guys had a great call with somebody, right? Great flow, you felt it's a good connection, the guy was sharing you, very open with you, whatever, you don't need to get too sophisticated there, right? Say, tell me, Joe, how much you take there? I mean, what's how much you're hoping to get? Straight up, right? No sophistication. It's based on rapport, right? And this is something you need to like put on autopilot. It doesn't matter in any scenario. It doesn't matter what number that individual, that prospect gave you, even if it sounds very low, crazy, whatever. You always follow up with the question, Joe, is that the best you can do? Or is that the best you can do, Joe? Or is that the lowest you would go? Is that the lowest you would take? Okay. Always follow up with that question. Okay. A lot of times they'll decrease it, even if it's in $1,000, it doesn't matter, but they will decrease the number. Already puts the acquisition guys in a better position a question ago, right? So this is what we call a money question. At the end of the day, it's a question that makes a lot of money to the acquisition guys, because just by asking that question, they get a decreasement in price automatically before they even provided them with, with a discounted offer, right? So always follow up with that question. Now, there's also other ways of, saying it like, well, Joe, I mean, it sounds like a property we'd definitely be interested in for an all cash offer, an as paid closing cost. What's going to be the least you would consider? Okay. Now, also remember, I'm bringing you back to the guidelines of breathing between the questions. This is where I ask the question and I ask it well enough, and you guys need to practice on it. So I stop. When I ask how much, what's the lowest you would take, I stop. Okay. And I stop and I let the other person talk, even if it becomes a bit awkward that nobody's talking for a couple of seconds. Do not talk. And you will see that by keeping that silence, you pretty much taking a response out of them. Now, we don't know what response is going to be, right? But you are going to put him in a place that he needs to talk, right? Another option, say, Joe, as I mentioned earlier, we're cash buyers, we're buying properties as is. Joe, we're not going to ask you to fix a thing in the property. Pretty much we're going to do all of it ourselves. We'll pay closing costs as well, making it as a smooth transaction as possible. That being said, Joe, what's going to be the least you would consider walking away happy over there? And I stop and just put that silence in, right? And that silence in will force a reaction out of that guy. Okay. So when we ask that question, and again, guy, what you need to understand is, most chances, if you followed all those steps good, the rapport was good, and you get that guy a good feeling, or the prospect a good feeling of the conversation, when you're going to ask this question, they'll give you an answer. They'll tell you. They'll all start to, yeah, 50,000, whatever. They'll give you a number, right? But still, there's going to be people who are, they don't want to give a number out. Two reasons. One, they may be more sophisticated business person, and they know they don't want to, put the number out first. And some will genuinely do not know the value. They don't know. You know what? I mean, I never thought about it. I don't know for how much properties are being sold for. Make me an offer. You called me. I mean, you know the area. It's good. Make me an offer on those. Okay. So let's talk about scenarios we're going to meet. You're going to have people who are, you made a nice pitch and they gave you a price. Beautiful. Is that the best you would go? Awesome. You put the price in and you wrap it up. You're ready to go. You're done. Right? Now it's going to be the ones who are going to give you resistance, right? Because either, like we said, they're the sophisticated type of people, or they don't know. What you're going to do here is you're not going to give up that easily. You're going to give it one more shot. So what you're going to do is you're going to circle back. You said, okay, you know what, Joe, I completely understand. I mean, and we're definitely going to provide you with an offer. Joe, knowing your price expectations always, help us structuring a quicker offer to you and ensuring that we tailor it closer to your needs. What's going to be your magic number over there, Joe? What's the number that's going to make you feel comfortable walking away? And I stop again, right? This silence is like, he needs to say somebody needs to say something, right? So there's many ways of doing it as well, and there's many scenarios and many styles, and you're gonna, the more you're gonna be exposed to other people's responses, there's many ways of doing it. Like, saying, yeah, complete, we're gonna provide you an offer for sure. And like I said, knowing, where you're coming from and what is your price expectation, obviously will assist us in giving you, an offer that's going to be tailored to you. And also, Joe, I'll be honest saying, it's always easier going up to your number than going down to ours. So, what's the magic number? Okay, there's so many ways of doing it, but just what want you guys to understand, you're not giving up, you're circling it back, you're giving it one more shot. You'll see also some people that gave you resistance at the beginning, they will crack here and get out a number. And again, when they say that number, is that going to be the best you can do, Joe? Boom. Okay. And if they gave you a number, you wrap it up. And if still, after circling back, they still gave you that resistance, okay, Joe, I get it. And this is when you guys wrap it up. You do not want to create this sense of, of conflict, or, be more, it feels like you're becoming a bit aggressive, taking out a price out of him. You tried once, twice, it didn't go, you move on. Wrapping it up. Okay. So this is the stuff you want to get out of it in wrapping up. So, I got it. He gave you the number. Beautiful. So, Joe, what we're going to do now is I'm going to, make sure we run the numbers. I'm going to pass all the information to our acquisition guys, and they will be running the numbers and getting back to you with a cash offer. Is that okay with you? Beautiful. Joe, what's the best number we can reach you at, right? Do you have a cell phone number? Okay. Getting the cell phone number is always better because, number one, the chances they actually pick up is higher. Second, we can send text to that person, because if we don't, not always getting hold of those people again is a easy task. So you want to have a cell phone. Second thing is, you want to get an email address from them, which is always putting you in a better position. Then we can get it out is, Joe, when you want to, to which email should we send an offer, right? Now, you're not going to send any offer because you're going to call them, right? But, in the case we want to send you an offer, to which email it should go in the case of. So anyway, he's going to get a call back, but you got an email address. That's another way of following up if you manage to engage with him, right? And another question is, Joe, what's the best times we can reach you at? It's always better knowing the times which are more comfortable for him, making the chances of engagement for the acquisition guys better chances to get hold of him, right? So this is the wrapping up. Now, last thing which we're going to touch is rebuttals. Okay, so you're going to meet some type of rebuttals like everybody, and I'm sure you guys passed on it, but if not, let's talk about it a bit here. We got those people who says, what's your offer, right? Like, when you call them in and say, hi, Joe, we're buying properties in the area. What's your offer, right? So what you're going to tell them is, Joe, typically we don't run the numbers until we, confirm an interest on your end. That being said, are you interested in selling? Are you thinking of selling? Right? So remember the control. He gave you an answer, you shoot an answer to you. You responded and said, typically we don't run the numbers until we find, we make sure you're interested. Are you interested? Are you thinking of selling? Boom, you took the control back. Okay. How the hell did you get my number? Right? So, we have a marketing team that provide us with a number of potential owners in the area, with the hope that they will be willing to entertain a cash offer. Are you thinking of selling? I responded. I gave it, I gained the control by asking again the question. And there is many ways of saying it and many stuff to say, how to say it. Again, we're talking about here about the logic and the flow. Okay. Who do you work for, right? Who you guys work for? So yeah, I work for Joe. He runs, private investment group. We buy between 4 to 6 properties a month in your area. Are you thinking of selling or any thoughts of selling over there? I responded, and again, the control. Guys, following this method and perfecting this method will for sure increase your conversion rate and will increase the time you utilize on non-relevant prospects. Okay, master it, practice it, and you will reach good results. Okay, I'm Yoav Lavi, and if any questions, feel free reaching out to me, and we can go through on more stuff together. Good luck. Bye bye.